I don't know if I mentioned anywhere along the way, but I truly believe that I'm engaged now for the rest of my life and probably for all eternity, maybe happy, who knows, for seeing evolution in our collective affairs, the well being of the people, and the striving towards better and greater realization of our relationship to the Creator, the great Creator, and our relationship to the role of creation in our lives. For quite a long time, I've been trying to bring about a caretaker government, but it's not an easy thing to do because the vested interests, of course, are all in bed with the politicians, and the politicians have actually been in bed with one another now for quite a very long time. And so we fall into the lowest common denominator. Um, it grows out of a kernel of ugliness and grows into a tree of corruption. And without blaming or creating enemies, it's a pretty tricky Gordian knot of philosophy, psychology, love, metaphysical realities, and plumbing, to bring about the ideal world. Now, I realize today I am an idealist. And what's wrong with being an idealist? It seems if people say, oh, well, that's just the ideal. It's like, okay, well, that's the ideal, but we've given up on the ideal. Well, I think idealists have not given up on the idea. Idealists believe that the ideal is justice. Justice is hard to describe. Injustice is very easy to see and experience, and is all around us. And of course, the corrupted political state leads inevitably, or has always been, God knows which, a corrupted judicial state. And so the people have always been more or less under the aegis of a bunch of really seriously determined, primarily men or families even, who are dedicated to swimming at the top of the social pile. For what reason? I suppose survival, genetics. I don't really understand the nature of that kind of dominant mind. I simply believe that we're all equal and different. Now, ideally speaking, and I will always speak ideally, I guess, I've committed myself to being an idealist because anything else is simply sliding down the hill to the lowest common denominator, and that's child pornography and abuse of children and abuse of the exchange and mart system, that is the monetary system, while sure employing a considerable number of well-paid people. The banks do, after all. I mean, they do contribute in a social fashion, do provide a service, but it is not a service which should allow the chartered banks, the commercial banks, and all the banking families to dictate the style and manner of life of the majority of the people. The ideal would seem to me that there will always be people who enjoy great wealth, and there are always people who are happy with very little. And I mean happy. We don't begrudge the people who enjoy great wealth. Well, they have to be responsible for it, because we're moving into a caretaker world now, when we recognize that we have to take care of one another. That is the principle and the foundation of the caretaker philosophy, which got on the web a long time ago. I think Google crawled it out of something, maybe my website. My website, by the way, is rainbowcoalition.ca. And and I'm showing up on YouTube. And I'm looking forward to Rob helping me to do that. We need a caretaker government. We need it very quickly. We need it right now. And I believe the most effective action one can really do about this Olympic situation in Canada, well, let those who believe this is serving anyone's best interest to get on and do it, and then we'll have a forensic analysis. That's already been largely done, thank goodness. I've got the book here. It's Five Ring Circus, and in the meantime, I think those of us who are dedicated to transcending the fear and the rhetoric of fear and the propaganda of fear and the nature of fear itself, and beginning to address ourselves to at least a 5-year plan for to bring about a metanoia and a paradigm shift in the management of our collective affairs through a new style, a new structure of government, because we're not interested in rocking the blokes. We're not interested in rocking the blokes, those who, are ensconced in our public service, but so much of it has been privatized, and in many, many, many ways that has been a backward step. Whenever we begin to sell out principles and ideals, dare I say, for, what should we say, financial interests, advantage-taking interests, and so on, this descent into darkness has gone on altogether for far too long in British Columbia. There are standards of behaviour and standards of decency and morality and non-collusion. I personally observe that, and at a pretty high level, people with power do corrupt it and do very easily fall into the trap of taking money for it. So we need a renaissance but primarily we need not to be threatening. We need to provide practical, rational, intelligent alternatives to the darkness that is being preached to us by these lunatics who can only see things in terms of darkness. Because, who is it? One of the great Aboriginal philosophers said something to the effect that, men are only blind because their eyes won't see. That truth eludes them because they're always looking for the, what should we say, the exception to what they know is the rule, and the rule is generally truth. And we need to move there very quickly. We need to cut through the ethnic and racial biases. We're all God's children. We're all in the same surface chemistry. I do repeat myself, and I'm long-winded, so that's enough for now. Thank you very much. God bless, and happy trails. Look forward to that future. I'm looking for the Jubilee, when all debt is forgiven, and it can be done, it can very easily be done. God bless. Bye-bye.